You are only 6 years old, living in a country consumed by endless war. The year is 1584, deep within Japan's violent Sengoku period. Powerful warlords battle endlessly, while ordinary families struggle to survive. Entire villages disappear overnight as another army marches across the countryside. For most children, every new sunrise is already a small victory. For you, life has always been even more unforgiving. Your name is Miyamoto Musashi, though nobody remembers it yet. You grow up in the quiet farming village of Hirafuku, surrounded by uncertainty. The mountains protect your village, but they cannot protect your childhood. Your mother disappears from your life while you're still too young to understand. No one explains where she went or why she never returned. Her absence leaves behind a silence that never truly fades. The only parent remaining is your father, Shinmen Munisai. Across Japan, people respect him as an extraordinary master swordsman. They admire his unmatched skill, discipline, and fearless reputation. But behind closed doors, he is a completely different man. His expectations feel heavier than any sword you will ever carry. Kind words are rare, while criticism becomes painfully familiar. Every mistake earns another harsh lesson instead of gentle encouragement. Even your greatest efforts never seem good enough for him. Slowly, you stop searching for praise that will never come. Instead, you begin watching everything your father does in complete silence. Every movement, every stance, and every swing becomes another lesson. Without realizing it, hardship quietly becomes your greatest teacher. One lonely child is about to begin a journey that will change Japan forever. You stop waiting for someone else to shape your future. Every morning begins before the rest of the village awakens. The forest becomes your classroom, and silence becomes your teacher. You repeat the same swing hundreds of times without anyone watching. Every mistake is corrected by patience instead of praise. Blisters slowly replace the softness of childhood. Even exhaustion cannot convince you to stop practicing. Other children spend their afternoons laughing together in the village. You choose another lonely day beneath the trees instead. Without realizing it, discipline begins replacing loneliness inside your heart. You carefully copy every movement your father performs with effortless precision. Every stance becomes another lesson stored inside your growing memory. When your father leaves, you immediately repeat every technique alone. The wooden sword slowly begins to feel like part of your own body. Hours pass unnoticed beneath the quiet cedar trees. Your muscles ache, but your determination grows even stronger. The forest witnesses every success and every painful failure. No audience applauds the countless hours you spend improving yourself. Only the sound of wind answers every determined swing. Without knowing it, your discipline quietly becomes your greatest weapon. Soon, you begin searching for stronger ways to challenge yourself. The rushing river becomes your next relentless opponent. Every unstable step teaches balance more effectively than comfort ever could. The steep hills slowly strengthen both your legs and your spirit. You race the sunrise until breathing itself becomes another challenge. Heavy logs replace comfortable toys in your daily routine. Every burden makes your small body a little stronger than yesterday. Nature never goes easy on those who seek true mastery. Rain, wind, and cold slowly become ordinary parts of every lesson. Your greatest opponent has never been another person, but yourself. Your eyes begin noticing details that others completely ignore. You study how every branch bends before the wind changes direction. Flowing water quietly teaches patience instead of raw strength. You realize nature always moves with perfect balance and timing. Without realizing it, your greatest teacher is no longer your father. Every lonely day slowly sharpens your mind as much as your body. You stop chasing perfect strength and begin seeking perfect control. Every movement becomes smoother, quieter, and far more deliberate. The frightened child slowly disappears behind growing discipline. Without anyone noticing, a future legend quietly begins taking shape. By the time you turn 13, your quiet training finally faces its first real test. A traveling swordsman arrives with complete confidence in his own reputation. His name is Arima Kihei, a veteran feared across neighboring provinces. With a loud voice, he openly challenges anyone brave enough to fight him. The entire village falls silent, as nobody dares accept his challenge. Then, without hesitation, you quietly begin walking toward the crowd. The villagers stare in disbelief as a barefoot teenager steps forward. Some people laugh, believing the duel will end within seconds. Arima smiles calmly after seeing your simple wooden weapon. Nobody realizes they are about to witness the birth of a legend. You step into the arena carrying nothing but a rough wooden branch. The polished katana across from you gleams beneath the afternoon sun. The difference between both weapons seems almost impossible to overcome. Even your father quietly doubts what will happen next. Your heartbeat remains steady while everyone else grows nervous. Arima confidently believes this fight will end with a single strike. You tighten your grip without taking your eyes off your opponent. The wind carries dust across the silent battlefield between both fighters. For one brief moment, time itself seems to stand completely still. Then, everything changes with a single, explosive movement. Before anyone can react, you sprint straight toward your opponent. Arima hesitates for the first time after seeing your fearless charge. Your wooden branch rises high above your head with unstoppable determination. The experienced samurai barely begins drawing his katana in response. The distance between both fighters disappears within a single heartbeat. Your strike crashes downward before the blade fully clears its scabbard. The unexpected blow shatters every assumption inside the crowded village. The veteran swordsman collapses heavily onto the dusty ground. Complete silence replaces the laughter that filled the village moments earlier. At only 13 years old, your legend quietly begins with a single victory. By sunrise, the story of the barefoot boy had already spread beyond your village. Winning your first duel doesn't change your life overnight. It only convinces you that staying home is no longer enough. Beyond those mountains, countless warriors are still waiting, so you quietly prepare to leave everything you've ever known. Your journey begins with nothing but simple clothes and unwavering determination. Every step carries you farther from the life you once understood. The road quickly teaches that survival matters more than reputation. Some nights, abandoned temples become your only shelter. For the first time, the entire world feels like your home. Every road introduces strangers with stories far older than your own. An elderly monk offers wisdom instead of food. You learn that patience can defeat strength long before swords ever cross. The mountains become your silent training partners. Every sunrise begins with another 1,000 practice swings. Your hands grow tougher with every passing day. A fast river teaches balance better than any instructor could. Falling into the cold water simply becomes another lesson. You climb back up without a single complaint. Every mistake slowly shapes the warrior you will eventually become. Every village teaches a different way to survive. Watching ordinary people quietly becomes another form of training. A blacksmith shows that patience creates stronger blades than anger ever could. You begin understanding that mastery exists far beyond swordsmanship. Even craftsmen fight their own battles every single day. The forest rewards those who learn to move without disturbing it. You stop chasing speed and begin chasing perfect control. Your greatest opponent slowly becomes your own impatience. With every passing mile, your confidence grows quieter. the world slowly transforms from your battlefield into your greatest teacher. You discover that silence often reveals more than conversation. The rhythm of flowing water becomes another lesson in balance. You begin reading nature as carefully as any opponent. Every bird, every breeze, and every shadow teaches perfect timing. Your greatest victories now happen long before any fight begins. The endless road slowly becomes your only true home. You no longer travel to prove yourself to anyone. You travel because every horizon promises another lesson. Without realizing it, the wandering boy has become a disciplined young warrior. Soon, the entire nation will begin testing everything you've learned. The peaceful roads you've walked suddenly begin to feel different. Every traveler whispers about a war that could change all of Japan. Messengers race across the countryside carrying urgent orders. Small villages begin preparing for uncertain days ahead. Even the air seems heavier as tension spreads across the land. Long lines of soldiers march toward a destination unknown to most. For the first time, you witness the true scale of organized war. This is no duel between two swordsmen. An entire nation is preparing to decide its future in a single battle. Without fully realizing it, you begin walking toward history itself. Every road now flows toward the same distant battlefield. The closer you travel, the larger the armies become. Thousands of banners wave beneath darkening skies. The sound of marching feet never seems to end. Entire villages pause to watch history pass before their eyes. You realize every soldier carries a different reason for fighting. Some march for honor, while others simply hope to survive. The excitement of battle slowly disappears beneath growing uncertainty. Ahead, countless campfires already cover the valley floor. Tomorrow, Japan will wake to one of its greatest battles. Before sunrise, an eerie silence settles across the valley. Then the first war drums echo across the mist. Conch shells announce the beginning of battle. Thousands of warriors surge forward at once. The earth trembles beneath countless marching feet. Gunfire suddenly tears through the morning silence. Smoke quickly hides friend and foe alike. The battle becomes pure chaos beyond anything you've imagined. Every direction now demands a choice between courage and survival. Nothing in your life has prepared you for this moment. Hours pass before the battlefield finally begins to quiet down. The cheers of victory sound strangely distant. The cost of war is written across every silent field. You realize that no sword can truly conquer death. Strength alone is no longer enough. The greatest battle is often the one fought within yourself. The young warrior who entered this valley no longer exists. Only the journey ahead still remains uncertain. You leave the battlefield carrying lessons no teacher could ever give. From this day forward, every duel will carry the memory of war.
When the war finally ends, no one tells you where to go next. For the first time in your life, you belong to no one. The road becomes your only companion. Every sunrise offers another chance to become someone new. Your name means nothing beyond the places you've already left behind. To everyone else, you're simply another wandering swordsman. But every step quietly sharpens both your body and your mind. You stop measuring distance by villages and begin measuring it by lessons learned. The world slowly becomes your greatest teacher once again. Without realizing it, you're already walking toward your next legend. Every province reveals a different face of Japan. Some roads disappear beneath towering cedar forests. Others lead through bustling castle towns filled with strangers. Every face carries a story you've never heard before. You learn more by watching than by asking questions. The best lessons often arrive without a single word. Nature still teaches with greater patience than any master. You begin recognizing patterns hidden within ordinary life. Slowly, your understanding grows far beyond swordsmanship. The road never stops teaching those willing to keep walking. One quiet dojo catches your attention. You watch every movement before introducing yourself. Only then do you respectfully request a match. The request is answered with quiet laughter. Their strongest student confidently steps forward. The courtyard falls completely silent. The duel begins with a single step. One perfectly timed strike ends everything. The silence afterward speaks louder than victory. Without realizing it, your legend quietly begins here. The next dojo already knows your name before you arrive. This time, nobody laughs. The duel begins before either sword is drawn. One mistake is all either of you can afford. The outcome is decided in only a few heartbeats. The master bows with genuine respect. Your victories begin traveling farther than you do. Across Japan, curious swordsmen begin searching for you. Without chasing fame, you've become impossible to ignore. Soon your greatest challenge will come from Kyoto itself. Every road eventually leads you to Kyoto. Japan's greatest swordsmen all leave their mark here. One name appears again and again wherever swords are discussed. The Yoshioka school has ruled Kyoto for generations. Its reputation alone is enough to intimidate most challengers. But fear has never guided your journey. You stop only long enough to observe. Every movement reveals years of disciplined training. You quietly step through the gate. Without knowing it, you've just challenged Kyoto's greatest swordsman. Calmly, you ask to face the master of the Yoshioka school. Within hours, the entire city is talking about the unknown Ronin. Yoshioka Seijuro accepts the challenge. On the appointed morning, the two swordsmen finally meet. Neither man rushes. Both understand that a single mistake could decide everything. Seijuro strikes first, but your eyes are already reading his rhythm. One perfectly timed counter changes everything. Kyoto's greatest swordsman has been defeated. The impossible has just become history. The defeat of Yoshioka Seijuro sends shockwaves through the entire dojo, leaving students and instructors struggling to believe what they have just witnessed. For the first time in generations, uncertainty settles over the Yoshioka school, and even its senior instructors struggle to hide their concern. Only one man refuses to accept the humiliation, believing the honor of his family can still be restored through another duel. Without hesitation, Denshichiro formally asks permission to challenge Musashi himself, determined to restore the honor that his family has protected for generations. The elders accept his request, knowing another defeat could destroy the reputation their school has spent decades building across Kyoto. A messenger soon finds Musashi outside Kyoto, carrying the Yoshioka family's official challenge, with the same ceremony reserved for matters of great importance. Musashi quietly reads the challenge before accepting it without hesitation, treating another duel as simply the next step along his lifelong journey. By the following morning, word of the second duel spreads across Kyoto, drawing even larger crowds eager to witness what will happen next. Long before the duel begins, spectators gather outside the Yoshioka dojo, hoping to secure the best place to witness the historic encounter. Inside the courtyard, Musashi and Denshichiro finally face each other, while the restless crowd falls into complete silence. For several long moments, neither swordsman makes the first move, knowing that patience can be as deadly as the sharpest blade. Denshichiro finally breaks the silence, stepping forward with unwavering confidence as he prepares to overwhelm Musashi through sheer relentless aggression. With a powerful burst of speed, Denshichiro launches the opening attack, hoping to seize control before Musashi can settle into his rhythm. Refusing to retreat, Denshichiro chains one attack into another, forcing Musashi to read every movement with extraordinary precision. Every exchange becomes faster, yet Musashi refuses to waste even the smallest movement, conserving both energy and perfect balance. To the watching crowd, the duel seems perfectly even. But Musashi has already begun recognizing small patterns hidden within his opponent's attacks. As the relentless attacks continue, Denshichiro begins relying more on strength than patience, while Musashi remains perfectly composed beneath the growing pressure. The pace remains relentless, but subtle signs of fatigue begin appearing in Denshichiro's movements long before anyone else notices them. Musashi patiently waits, knowing the perfect opportunity rarely comes through speed, but through an opponent slowly abandoning perfect discipline. Then, for only a single heartbeat, Denshichiro commits too much weight into one powerful strike, creating the opening Musashi has patiently awaited. In the instant Denshichiro loses perfect balance, Musashi glides just outside the attack, moving only enough to let the strike pass harmlessly beside him. Before Denshichiro can recover his stance, Musashi delivers one perfectly measured counter, ending the duel with remarkable speed and absolute precision. The courtyard falls completely silent as Denshichiro realizes the duel has ended, his determination overcome by Musashi's flawless timing. No cheers follow the victory, only stunned silence as the Yoshioka school suffers its second devastating defeat before the eyes of Kyoto. Leaving without celebration or another word, Musashi quietly walks away, while his legend grows even larger with every step beyond the dojo gates. 2 defeats leave the Yoshioka clan with only one choice. Honor quietly gives way to desperation. Messengers disappear into the Kyoto night. The final challenge reaches Musashi. Before accepting, you study every word. You arrive hours before sunrise. Something about the forest feels wrong. The smallest details reveal the truth. Instead of walking into the trap, you begin reading the battlefield. The duel never existed, only the battlefield. Instead of walking into the clearing, you circle behind them. The youngest leader waits in the clearing, unaware he is being watched. The trap has only one heart, and you already know where it is. One silent decision changes the entire battle. Before anyone understands what is happening, the ambush collapses. The heir has no time to prepare. One decisive strike shatters the entire plan. For one frozen moment, nobody moves. The silence finally breaks. You don't fight the circle. You find its weakest point. The forest becomes your greatest ally. Only one man can reach you at a time. By the time they reorganize, you're already gone. By noon, the battle was already over. With Ichijoji behind you, your name spreads across all of Japan. The Yoshioka clan lost a battle. Japan gained a legend. Musashi disappears before anyone can follow. Behind him, the shattered Yoshioka clan struggles to understand what went wrong. News leaves Kyoto faster than any messenger could ride. Merchants repeat the story at every roadside inn across western Japan. Each retelling makes the mysterious Ronin seem even more unstoppable. Some swear he defeated dozens of swordsmen completely alone. Others insist the battle ended before the ambush even began. Every storyteller remembers different details, but the conclusion never changes. The Yoshioka school has fallen, and Musashi's name now travels with the rumors. Across Japan, unfamiliar ears hear the name Miyamoto Musashi for the first time. Soon, challenge letters begin searching for Musashi. Most never discover where the wandering Ronin has gone. Musashi ignores fame and simply keeps walking. Every road becomes another lesson. The greatest swordsman is still becoming who history will remember. Word of Musashi reaches distant castle towns. Young swordsmen dream of testing themselves against the mysterious Ronin. Older masters become far more cautious. Musashi never learns how famous he has become. Far away, another legendary swordsman quietly hears the name for the first time. While Japan speaks his name, Musashi keeps walking alone. Another quiet village welcomes only an ordinary traveler. That evening, a small temple offers shelter without asking his name. His supper is plain, but enough for another day. At sunrise, the journey begins again. Every quiet mile teaches more than another victory. Somewhere else, new challengers sharpen their blades. Across countless dojos, one name refuses to disappear. One man finally decides the stories deserve an answer. Soon, two legends will begin walking toward the same destiny. Far across the inland sea, another swordsman perfects his own path. His name is Sasaki Kojirō. Unlike Musashi, Kojirō trains within respected schools. His movements appear effortless. Every strike flows like moving water. Students watch in silent admiration. Few can even follow his blade. His unusually long sword becomes impossible to ignore. People begin calling it Monohoshi-zao. Its extraordinary length frightens even experienced swordsmen. Most masters believe the weapon is far too long. Kojirō proves them wrong again and again. Distance becomes his greatest advantage. One flawless swing ends most duels. His signature technique earns growing respect. The style becomes known as Ganryu. Word of Kojirō spreads across Western Japan. Powerful lords begin noticing his remarkable skill. A wandering ronin named Musashi eventually reaches his ears. For the first time, Kojirō becomes curious. Neither swordsman has seen the other. Yet both continue walking toward the same future. One seeks constant improvement. The other pursues absolute perfection. Their philosophies grow in opposite directions. Japan begins comparing their growing legends. Every rumor brings their names closer together. Destiny quietly prepares their meeting. Neither man knows history is already watching. Soon, Japan's greatest duel will become inevitable. Across Japan, conversations about the greatest swordsman now end with the same two names, Miyamoto Musashi and Sasaki Kojirō. Musashi is praised for defeating powerful opponents through unpredictability, while Kojirō is admired for mastering elegance, precision, and flawless technique. From crowded castle towns to quiet mountain villages, friendly debates grow into fierce arguments over which swordsman would prevail. Ironically, the two legends have never met, never spoken, and have never even looked into each other's eyes. As the rivalry grows through rumor alone, the stories eventually reach the powerful Hosokawa clan in northern Kyushu. The clan quickly realizes that a duel between Japan's two greatest swordsmen would become an event remembered for generations. For ambitious rulers, hosting such a contest is more than entertainment. It is an opportunity to strengthen the domain's prestige throughout the country. Behind the quiet walls of Kokura Castle, senior retainers begin discussing how such an extraordinary meeting could actually be arranged. Unlike the wandering Musashi, Sasaki Kojirō already serves within the Hosokawa domain, making him the easier swordsman to approach. Finding Musashi, however, proves far more difficult, as the wandering ronin leaves no permanent home and rarely stays anywhere for long. Trusted messengers quietly begin searching the roads of Japan, carrying a proposal that could forever change the history of Japanese swordsmanship. Long before either swordsman receives the invitation, destiny has already begun leading them toward the shores of Ganryūjima. After weeks of searching, the Hosokawa messengers finally discover Musashi, resting at a quiet temple deep in the mountains. They respectfully present an invitation unlike any Musashi has ever received. The proposal is simple. Face Sasaki Kojirō in a formal duel before official witnesses. Musashi quietly accepts, treating the challenge as another step along his lifelong journey, rather than an opportunity to become famous. Back in Kokura, Sasaki Kojirō receives the same proposal through the lord he faithfully serves. Without boasting or hesitation, Kojirō accepts the duel, believing every worthy opponent deserves his finest sword. News of the official duel spreads across Japan faster than anyone expected, drawing warriors and curious travelers toward Kokura. Inns, ferries, and busy roads fill with people hoping to witness a duel unlike anything their generation has ever seen. Musashi travels exactly as he always has, carrying little beyond his swords, simple belongings, and years of experience. Meanwhile, Kojirō continues refining the Ganryu style with the same discipline that built his legendary reputation. Though separated by distance and philosophy, both swordsmen prepare with complete confidence, never questioning the path that brought them here. The duel is scheduled to take place on a small island called Ganryūjima, where nothing but the sea will witness the outcome. Officials prepare the island carefully, marking the dueling ground and arranging positions for the witnesses. Before sunrise, boats carrying officials, respected swordsmen, and invited witnesses begin crossing the calm waters toward the island. The atmosphere remains unusually quiet, as though everyone understands that words have become less important than what they are about to witness. Beyond the horizon, two separate boats move steadily toward the same island, carrying two men whose names will forever be remembered together. Sasaki Kojirō steps onto Ganryūjima with the quiet confidence of a man who has never doubted his own skill. He quietly waits beneath the morning sky, while the empty shoreline remains undisturbed. As the sun climbs higher, quiet conversations begin spreading among the witnesses watching from a respectful distance. Some begin wondering whether the famous wandering Ronin will appear at all. Kojirō remains perfectly composed, though the growing delay slowly begins testing even his remarkable patience. At last, a small wooden boat appears beyond the morning mist, moving steadily toward Ganryūjima. Rather than preparing for battle, Musashi calmly carves a wooden sword from one of the boat's spare oars. Watching from the shore, the witnesses struggle to understand why anyone would challenge Sasaki Kojirō with nothing but wood. Kojirō watches silently, saying nothing as his opponent finally steps onto the island. For the first time in history, Miyamoto Musashi and Sasaki Kojirō stand face to face beneath the same morning sky. Kojirō slowly draws Monohoshizao, the unusually long blade reflecting the golden light of the rising sun. Musashi quietly raises his newly carved wooden sword, showing neither fear nor hesitation. The entire island falls silent as every witness holds their breath. In a single explosive instant, Kojirō launches forward with the speed that made him legendary. Musashi steps inside the attack at the final moment, avoiding the deadly strike by the narrowest possible margin. With one decisive swing, the wooden sword strikes before Kojirō can recover. The duel ends almost as quickly as it began, leaving the entire island frozen in stunned silence. For several long moments, no one speaks, as even experienced warriors struggle to believe what they have just witnessed. Without celebrating, Musashi quietly leaves the island, carrying only the same wooden sword that secured his greatest victory. The story of Ganryūjima spreads across Japan, transforming both swordsmen into legends whose names would forever be linked together. More than 4 centuries later, the duel at Ganryūjima remains one of the most celebrated moments in the history of Japanese swordsmanship. Their duel lasted only moments, but its legacy continues to inspire generations who seek mastery, discipline, and the true meaning of the warrior's path.